Welcome to the class. We are going to open our upper heart. I always say upper back, but it's not actually opening, it's actually closing and trying to back bend and extend. Bending backwards is called extension. So extend our upper and middle back, maybe our neck a little bit, and work also on the shoulders since these are all connected in a way. So let's start in your any kind of seat, either on your heels or cross-legged or anything that you find comfortable. You can always put a little bit something underneath your hips to elevate your pelvis so you can sit a little bit more comfortable. It's never comfortable if you have to work super hard to tilt that pelvis a little bit more forward to create a small amount of back bend on your low back. Close your eyes, relax the shoulders, and as always, although I don't do it too often on YouTube, to start the class by bringing the focus towards the inside. So you can bring the focus either to your breath and to how you are feeling right now. And it can be anything from categorizing your feeling or feelings to also realizing or finding out the intensity of these feelings. So how strong they are, or how not strong, how weak they are. And sometimes the breathing represents and is somehow similar to those feelings. It might be also hard to categorize the breath, figure out where it's happening, and again also how is the depth, so what is the intensity of the breath. You can also imagine how the air comes in through your nose, feeling your upper body and even your belly as the diaphragm pushes down, and then as you exhale, noticing or imagining the air leaving out through your nose at the end. So start deepening your breath. Inhale. Expand in your belly to the sides, in your ribs to the sides. And exhale from your ribs, from your belly, from the sides of your belly. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, let's go a few more times by yourself. And then trying to remember this pattern of breathing and coming back to it whenever you find yourself too busy with your thoughts in your practice. Opening your eyes, and we'll come to a tabletop. So focusing on the upper back, you can spread your fingers as you Place them underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath your hips, and then grab the mat with your fingertips, and that will bring a little bit more engagement into your muscles, starting from your forearms, coming up to your shoulders, and even to your shoulder blades, which are like a guidance here in your upper back mobility. So as you inhale, you can move the shoulder blades together and down a little bit, looking forward. And then as you exhale, you round the spine in your cat. You're gonna feel the shoulder blades sliding to the sides and up to your ears a little bit. Inhale. And exhale. As you push your shoulders and your elbows forward, start with inhalation and try to keep the elbows straight as you start opening and broadening your collarbones at the front, maybe even looking up. And exhale, still keep using your fingertips, rounding, pressing the inside palms into the mat. Go for one more time. Inhale, open, looking up. And exhale, rounding, pressing down. Then come to a neutral position, and let's isolate only the upper back or middle back. So we will try to isolate everything else or stabilize everything else and allow it to move, and then just the chest goes down. It sinks in between the shoulders, and then you want to push it forward towards your chin. Inhale, and then exhale. It starts to rise up, your chest bone comes up, and your shoulders squeeze in front of you together. Inhale, come again into that opening of the chest. Move it down, move the shoulder blades together. Chest comes to your chin. And exhale, round it. Good. Then find a neutral pose. My favorite way, of course, is the Anahatasana or puppy pose for also adding the shoulders, and it's the nicest feeling for me, but it's really hard when you start. You have several options here. You don't have to put your chin down on the mat as you walk the hands forward. So if your forehead is on the ground and your neck is therefore not initiating the back bend, it's really much harder, so you have to do a much better job at imagining that you want to sink the chest down towards your chin. And it's ideal to feel the shoulder blades. If you are really not as aware of where they are, you can put a block there. You can have someone just touch you basically where your shoulder blades are. It's really hard to touch yourself in this position. You can bend the elbows, place them down, and then try to push from the shoulder blades. And you can notice how it feels slightly weird. For the forehead, if you have enough flexibility to stay there, so your nose will start really like pressing down, and that's when you have to bring the chin or maybe just the mouth on the mat. It doesn't have to be like a full extension in your neck. And if it's your shoulders that are really apparent here, maybe for you it's better to bring the palms a little bit wider away from each other, and then notice if this is a little bit better position. You still have your arms really active and coming up and down here, but you should still all the way down. I'm just doing it because of the microphone. I would stay down. So you want to keep rotating your outer upper arm towards you, so it comes down and towards your face. And if your palm keeps opening, just turn your palm down and you do your best to have the palms facing down or coming onto your fingertips if your elbows touch the ground very soon in this process. And you want to keep somehow an engagement all the way down to your palms, to your fingers, rather than having just the elbows there and the palms somehow like flat and not doing anything. If your hips keep sliding forward, just slide back. Keep them above the knees. Relax your forehead. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more breaths here. Then start from your hips, lift from your belly, from your chest bone, from your shoulders. Walk the palms back underneath the shoulders. Again, inhale into your cow tilt. This time full cow tilt, also with your hips, also with your neck. And exhale, round. Good. Then tuck your toes. Take a little bit of a break-ish in the downward facing dog. And focus here on neutralizing your spine rather. So it's really nice to always open the chest and work on that. The more you do it, of course, the better you are going to be at it. But then as you are in different poses where this is not the target, or in between those openings, sometimes it's good to neutralize. You don't have to round necessarily, but you can bring the chest bone slightly in, again using your fingertips, pushing from the ground, pushing the way, lifting the shoulders up, rolling those triceps towards each other. And then maybe tilting your sitting bones to be turned more upwards while the chest and the front ribs stay inwards. Inhale and exhale. Then lift your heels super high and then walk on your tippy toes forward, 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 forward. So how to target the chest here in your halfway lift? It's better to really come higher, but try to keep your belly and the lower part of your back as close to your chest as possible, and lift from your chest as you move the shoulders back. You can look forward, you can keep your neck long. Exhale, fold. And really try to feel those back muscles to work as you lift. Inhale. And exhale. Bring your front ribs in. A little bit of roundness, not too much. One more time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, fold. Now roll up and bend the knees. Go very slowly into standing. Move the shoulders up, back and down. So move your wrist a little bit because you might feel them a little bit raw and a little bit sticky, because they tend to take the load from the shoulders if your shoulders are not properly engaged, or if you just can't do that properly yet, or I'm feeling them too if it's a little bit too early for you, for your shoulders to move. Good, then bring the feet together. Try to have the knees pointing forward in a neutral kind of direction. Squeeze the legs towards each other. Bring your arms up. We are going to grab the right wrist with the left hand and try to keep the right elbow straight. So inhale, reach up as far as possible. And then exhale, we're going to connect the left shoulder and the left hips. Again, the outer side, the tricep of your upper arm is turning towards you, and the whole arm is squeezing towards your head, but you're lifting the head towards it at the same time, so your head is not just limping there. And then try to bend literally just from the hips to your shoulders. Breathe. And then you can start going a little bit deeper, so your hips also will move a little bit to the right side. Then look up. Take one more full cycle of the breath. And then inhale, start shifting the hips back over the heels and elongate, reach up. Exhale, release the hand. For the other side, grab the left wrist and again, reach it up. Inhale, exhale. Right shoulder and the right hip tries to connect. Relax your neck. You can again already start looking up and trying to feel the stretch on the left side as you are side bending towards the right. Breathe in, turn the chest a little bit higher. Exhale, and then come up with the hips coming first to the center, reaching up. Exhale, release. Move your shoulders, your whole hands a little bit. For a standing kind of back bend, we want to bring the hips back just to stay with the hips above the legs at all times as we start to open the chest, and that will help us to feel really the back bend more in the upper back, in the middle back, and it will with the hips staying over the legs, over the heels, the whole weight will not just be dumped into the low back, although it might feel like the low back is also bent a little bit more. Again, feet together. You can put your palms onto your hips, but you want to push with the hips back and the chest wants to go up. You squeeze your elbows in towards each other. If this doesn't do the trick for you, you don't feel too much. Arms over the head help because they are added weight. You can interlace the fingers and release the index fingers for Kali Mudra and be opening the chest up towards the ceiling, using the hands as a little bit of weight here while the hips still go back. You can also look up with your whole head. Inhale and exhale. And eventually you can start moving your hips a little bit forward, but still mostly trying to feel it in your upper back. 2 more breaths here. And then slowly start coming with the hips all the way back again. And then elongating the spine from the bottom to the top, rolling it, exhaling, palms to your chest. If you're really good at this, what is good to use a wall behind you. You're not going to see this very well, but basically start the same. You move close to the wall, especially if you're new to it, and you try to find the wall with your hands. And then once you're there, maybe hold palms on the wall and you press against as you bring your hips back. Not forward, but back towards the wall. Trying to elongate through your elbows. And eventually coming again out, rolling first the hips and then going up. That's why you will first take out again the load from your low back and it will stay somehow safe. So come back to the front of the mat. Inhale, you can reach up. You can take the little bit of a back bend here and exhale, bend the knees a little to fold over your legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Again, the hands can come higher to feel the back bend in your upper back. Then press the palms down, step back into a plank position. A little bit of something else for compensate again. You can drop the knees here down and notice or focus on elongating your whole body. So you want to lift the head and you want to elongate to the top of the head. You want to use your hands, your fingertips to press into the mat and having your legs somehow toned, using them to be straight. Inhale and exhale, chaturanga down, maybe with your knees on the ground. Coming into a Sphinx pose, so bring the forearms forward in front of you. The elbows can be right under the shoulders, but it doesn't matter. You can move them a little bit more forward. And here it's again tricky because as you have your hands in front of you, your shoulders tend to close forward, therefore they close your chest, therefore your upper back actually rounds. So the trick here is to try to move the shoulders back, activating the legs to press by pressing the feet down and then also pressing the pubic bone down while trying to keep your knees facing or turning down into the mat. Inhale, exhale, squeeze the belly in at the end. Then lift the elbows a little bit, bring them to the sides and roll down. Forehead comes down. Bring the fingertips from the sides of your shoulders with the elbows facing up. Inhale, lift. I really like these lifts. Looking up, rolling the shoulders back and then trying to go forward with your chest rather than just behind. And exhale, release the forehead down. We'll go 3 more times. Inhale, you can start with your head like a snake, roll it, and same way coming down. You can also try to roll it the other way, starting with your chest, with your belly, and then at the end opening the chest, maybe looking up. Exhale, release down. 2 more. Inhale, or just 1 more, and Exhale down. This time lift, and we are going to go with the right shoulder down, looking towards the left side. Inhale, lift the same way, and roll towards the center into like a cobra pose. Inhale, and exhale with the left shoulder coming down, left elbow lifts. Then inhale, open like this, lift like this, come to the center. Inhale here, move the shoulders up, then back, and then push the chest forward. Exhaling, slowly roll down. Then bring the arms beside you. Still strong feet pressing down. Still pubic bone pressing down. And then start with your head. Roll your shoulders, your chest up into a locust variation. Your palms can lift to arm, they were probably lifted already. Turn the palms facing down, lift a little bit more, and exhale, stay there. 2 more, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift a little bit more. And exhale, carefully roll down, press back through a tabletop into child's pose, but with the knees really wide as your mat. The toes together. You can walk the fingers forward. Inhale, elongate, and exhale, squeeze the belly in. Try to keep your spine really long, even if that requires your hips to be a little bit higher. Inhale, and exhale. And come back to your tabletop. Bring the knees as wide as your hips. Inhale into your cow tilt. And then start moving forward with your whole upper body, bending the elbows, because at some point it's not going to allow you to go forward more. Then squeeze the elbows in towards each other. Use your fingertips, feel the weight in your fingertips. That's how much you are leaning forward, and then bring the chin and your chest down and come up the same way. Squeeze the elbows, squeeze the fingertips into the mat. Lift and round very carefully. Inhale into your cow tilt. And you can slide even the palms a little bit closer to your knees to have a little bit more depth in your back bend. Slowly lower down at the front of your fingertips. Inhale, lift the shoulder blades, and exhale, squeeze the belly in. You can lift your heels up. You can also move your knees a little bit closer. Again, going deeper. Try to not have too much weight on your chin. Imagine you want to lift the chin. Inhale, exhale, and then if you like, you can try to interlace the fingers behind your back and lift from your palms too. Carefully release. The palms come underneath your shoulders. The tops of the feet come down and start rolling the spine from the bottom, from your hips, lifting, rolling over your face as you lower your belly, lifting the chest up, and exhale, release. Press back again, just 2 breaths in your wide-legged child's pose variation. Good. That were 3 breaths actually. Sit back onto your heels. So this one is a little bit more advanced, but it's the position that helped me the most to open the chest. It's not really for beginners, although most of my classes are really for beginners. But if you are already like a year in your practice, if you feel comfortable in your headstand, or even if you have just headstand at the wall, but you feel comfortable somehow, if it's possible, in the dolphin pose, then you can go for that for sure. If dolphin pose is really extremely hard for you, then maybe spend a little bit of time in your dolphin instead of doing this. So we need again wall. You have to bring your mat all the way to the wall. And we don't go too far away from the wall, so your mat can go all the way to the edge actually. Any position for your arms works. It's easier if your palms are together. I like to have my hands with the fingers interlaced, with my bottom pinky finger curled under the second pinky finger. So it's a nice kind of position for the palms to be without crushing that bottom finger. Then the palms, the fingers will come all the way close to the wall. The elbows a little bit less wide than your shoulders. Then you can kick up with your head hanging here, or you can put the top of the head or your forehead on your wrist and try maybe even to press up towards the wall. The legs can go together. You can also bend the knees and then lift the head and press it forward. Press your chest forward and bring your hips back behind you. Your job here is chest forward, pressing away from the ground, from your forearms, and hips low. And then try to maybe stay there. If you are very new to this, you can bring the head back down, carefully coming down, taking a child's pose here again with your knees wider. It's really overwhelming to go upside down if you're not used to it, but you can always build on this. So doing it, trying it again, and holding for a little bit long. Just for the sake of the exercise, let's do it one more time. If you felt like you can go deeper, but the wall was limiting your hips, you can go like 3 centimeters away from the wall and try like that. Maybe the other leg kicks up this time. If you're kicking with one leg, pressing forward, squeezing the elbows towards each other as if you wanted to squeeze them in, bringing the chest forward, trying maybe different position of the legs, so the legs can go straight. For some that might feel nice. For me it's easier with my knees bent, but then the legs become more heavy above you. Pressing from the elbows up, maybe even looking up with your eyes, inhaling, sitting the hips lower, and carefully with your exhale coming down very slowly again. Maybe another child's pose for you to release here. Another of my favorite exercises to open my chest in a full back bend is trying to go for a half forearm wheel pose. And for this one, again, you need to have a little bit more confidence in your inversions. You go as far as your leg away from the wall. You can start a little bit closer and build up the distance, trying not to go too far, only as far as your leg. And that's where you will put your shoulders, not your shoulders, your elbows, but basically your shoulders will be there. Again, you can go through a headstand, elbows close. It's very important for the shoulders to open in a healthy way and trying to find the wall behind you with the leg. At the beginning it's really scary because you feel like, oh my god, where is the wall, where is it? It's good also to film yourself and try this, and once you see that maybe your leg was only 5 centimeters away but you were too afraid, you were like, oh, I'm going to fall backwards, the wall is too far. So that once you see that, okay, I was only missing 5 centimeters, which is in most of the times the case, then you will realize, okay, I can do this. Maybe you start with a second leg, you find the wall. If you try again, then you lift both legs at the wall, you drop the hips back, the chest presses forward, really opening the shoulders as you squeeze your elbows in, and then only one leg stays at the wall, and the second leg, squeezing in with the inner thighs, reaches down. Maybe you touch the ground. And this is basically half variation, which feels really nice for the low back of staying in actually your forearm wheel, which is really hard with both legs. And then you can change going with the other leg. And then carefully coming back, looking down maybe, or setting the head down, trying to not to kick too strongly away from the wall to come back. Okay, so these were my favorite things to do for opening the upper back. And after that, all of that, you have to also close that spine, because this is not supposed to be open. It's supposed to be slightly curved backwards. So very carefully you can go through a side, you lie yourself down onto your back, and you wait for a few breaths here, breathing deeply into your whole rib cage. You can feel how the backside on the upper back expands with the inhale, and also how you allowing, by not having any kind of gravity, any kind of weight on your spine, for the spine muscles to release. You can close your eyes, you can knock your knees together, the feet a little bit wider. And eventually bring your knees up to your chest, just keeping the head down. For now, moving the knees right, left, little tiny twists. Then opening the arms to the sides and taking a real twist. First maybe to the left side with your knees, looking to the right. Staying here, even closing your eyes, maybe grabbing the top knee with your left hand. Maybe the knee, maybe the thigh, maybe even the hip. If that's something that helps you to feel that twist a little bit more. Trying to root your right shoulder down towards the ground. And then changing, slowly coming back to the center, staying here a little bit before you roll onto the other side. With your knees, with your head coming to opposite or turning opposite. Again, you can grab your knees. After that twist to the other side, this feels a little bit harder-ish maybe. Maybe something is really like still tensing on your back, but that will release after a while. You can also try to grab your hips and then take few deep breaths into breaths into your left side of your rib cage, gluing your left shoulder down with your exhalation. And then bring your knees back to your chest and lift your head, really rounding your whole spine. You can also put your arms towards the ceiling and then try to really reach high, so really lifting, really closing the chest, bringing the shoulders away from the ground as far as possible, looking up. Inhale and exhale, release down. You can bring the feet, soles together, the knees opening to the sides in your Supta Baddha Konasana. Maybe arms over the head or beside you. And staying here for several breaths if you like. And I'm going to say thank you everyone that you joined me in this class. I hope you liked it. Write me any suggestions if I missed any kind of nice heart opener exercise that you prefer. If this was too easy, let me know, or if it was too hard, let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.